Now, do you have different levels in your garden? Do you need some steps? Well, I certainly did, because I was fed up going arse over tit going down this bank. So I asked for a quote to get some steps put in. It was humongous. It was well over £1,000. So I thought, well, how hard can it be, honestly, if you watch enough YouTube videos? So I did just that, and finally, I have to say finally, the penny dropped. And I created these steps for under 100 quid. They don't look fantastic probably, but I can tell you the steps work. Now, looking at the construction, I used bricks for my base layer. That's simply because I can't really manhandle big blocks around the place. They would have been easier, probably, requiring less mortar in between. But bricks worked fine for me. I just got them from B&Q and took them home in my car. Now, the base layer here is a row of 3 bricks, and beside it another row of 3 bricks. You can't have 2 mortar joins together because it makes it weaker. So I had to knock a brick in 2, actually easier than it sounds. You just score it round with a chisel and give it a knock, and that does the trick. And then along the top here, I did 6 bricks going from front to back. I actually did top dress this with some stone that I found in the garden. Again, I couldn't handle very large pieces of stone. I didn't actually have big pieces of stone anyway. So I do have a join here. I think, do you know what? I think it'll weather down. I think I'll get some little moss and things growing in it, and it'll look great. Right, now let's have a quick look at the maths of the whole thing. I know, yuck, and I didn't really pay too much attention, but I think I do understand it. So let's look at the height first. Let's assume that the bank is 1 metre from the top to the bottom. I won't be far out. So assume that your depth, it could be 2 metres, I don't know what you're working with, but assume for the sake of this example it's 1 metre. Well, steps apparently need to be within 10 and 20 centimetres to be a comfortable step up. Now each of mine is 20 centimetres from the base here to the top. So 20s into 100 go 5, so I know that I need 5 steps. And that's what I have got, although I've only built 4, obviously. The top step is my final step, so that's 5 steps up, 5 20s, 100, that gets me to the top. Now look at the depth of your steps. And this is sort of important. Say the depth from here to there is 40 centimetres, which it is. Well, I've got 4 steps there, so 4 4s are 16. So I know that as well as going up, I'll be going back 1.6 metres. Now that's sort of important, or worth keeping an eye on, because you don't really want to go so far back up that your top step's in your neighbour's garden. But so if that doesn't suit you, obviously you're in control. Make your steps shallower and higher. So here we go. Start with your bottom step. I know, duh, but I actually didn't really know that until I started. And try and get it as level as you can across the way. I used a spirit level, and you can see the bubbles in the middle. So just scrape away the earth until you can get it as level as you can across the way. You might even be able to do it by eye. There's my concrete. That's what I used to put the bricks in, and I also put that on the top of the bricks when I laid my stone on. And that's my cement. So that's 2 parts sand to 1 part cement, and add water. I would say that's quite gloopy, because it's a bit like cooking. If it's too gloopy, it sort of squidges out when you put the bricks down. So I think I would have added a bit more sand and cement to that on the day. And there we have the construction, laid on concrete, mortared in between, backfilled with gravel, and then up you go to the next one. Pretty easy, really. Now, I started this in January, and we did have some minus temperatures, which you really don't want, because your concrete and your cement needs time to set in a decent temperature. So this really is a summer job. So these are my steps finished now. This is in the summer. I actually started them in January, but I finished them in May, because between January and May it was actually too icy and snowy here to complete the job. But they're extremely solid. They really work. I did top dress them with stone because I needed to get a bit of extra height as well, and I think it looks nicer. But remember, you're in charge, so you can decide the depth of your step and indeed the width. All the decisions are yours. I started planting them up either side with a few alpines, and I think when they grow up and round the steps, it'll look really nice. I hope I've inspired you to have a go at building steps. I mean, if I can do it, really literally anybody can do it. And although these are maybe not case study steps, each time we build more steps, we'll all get better at it. If you found this video useful, please do think about subscribing to our YouTube channel, or indeed following our blog. You'll find the address in the very next frame.